Hi, everybody. I hope you're well today. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Best Practices with Pluto LMS. And today, the 13th of October, 2021, we're going to chat about the course Gradebook. My name is JC Bonici, Customer Success Manager at Pluto LMS, and thank you once again for joining us all. Today's one quick agenda. What we're going to take a look at is the Gradebook Setup. We're also going to take a look at the different views of the gradebook. So from the teacher's point of view and also the student's point of view. And then we'll also have a Q&A session at the end, so stick around for that too. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a live example. And what I have done here is created a course with two sections, as you can see, section 1 and section 2. And they comprise of a task, a quiz, and an H5P activity each. So each course has its own gradebook, which is automatically updated with any activity that has a mark associated with it. So what I've done over here is I've got two students in my course for this example, and each activity that I have created has shown up in my gradebook, and without any setup, this is what it looks like, and I'll take you through the setup shortly. But to explain what we have over here in the grader report, which is the first tab that will open up once you click on the gradebook, you'll see your students. You'll also notice that their activities are here and they have their marks too. So what the marks are looking like at the moment, green is a pass and red is a fail. Ones that are in black are marks that don't have a pass or fail attached to it. And then this little dash is this is an unmarked assignment. So this is yet to be graded. Then you will notice that we have a course total, and the course total is just a flat number. So this person has 94 out of the course total, which we'll find out what that means and what that is in a second. So before I go into the view and take a look at that any further, let's take a look at setup. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the setup tab. And what we noticed here is all of our activities for the course have shown up, and that we have some numbers over here. So what do these mean? Well, the first category is weighting. So what has happened here is Pluto has automatically created a weighting that classes each quiz, assignment, or H5P activity as being equal in the eyes of the result based on the calculation of whatever the max grade they can have. So the max grade over here, you will notice, is 100. So the total that the student can get or achieve is 100. The quiz, it is 5. And you'll notice that these weights are all relative to the max grade. So this is what Pluto has done, or the gradebook has done automatically for you. And then the max grades totals to 230. So this is what my course total is at the end. Now, we might want to reorganize our gradebook to make it look a bit neater or a bit less confusing to the marker. So what I'm going to want to do firstly is move task 2 so that it's underneath task 1. So let's go ahead and do that. And to do that, what you're going to do is click on these two arrows over here to move. And what we're going to want to do is take task 2. It says move over here. We're going to want to place it in this box that's underneath task 1. You can see it's in a nice order, and we've now ordered things a little bit better and make a bit more sense. Now just back to weightings. So what you'll notice is you can change the weightings. Maybe we would like these assignments to not count for 43% of the total mark. We actually want these assignments to count, we want them to count, let's say, 40%. So let's go ahead and update these to 40% of the course total. And what you'll notice now is the rest of, when I hit save changes, is that the rest of the weights will calculate accordingly too. So this is how you can change the weights of your activities if you want them to count more towards the course total or less towards the course total than the system has recognized them as. And once again, the system recognizes them as all equal based on the maximum grade to begin with. So one more note on maximum grade. This is the grade that we have set for each of these particular activities. And it makes sense. This one is out of 100. This quiz has 5 questions, and they're worth 1 each. So the maximum grade is 5, and these 85P activities are out of 10. So makes sense, the value of the result equals the value of the activity, and then our course total is the maximum grade a student can get for this particular course. Great, so next thing we're might want to do is take a look at categories. So you can group activities together to get a category result, or you might want to just subdivide your activities into different categories. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is add category name. I'm going to call this primary results or primary assignments. And we're going to leave everything the same and just go and click Save Changes. You'll notice we have a primary assignments category over here. And the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is add our second category and just call this secondary assignments. And save changes. Fantastic. So what we want in primary assignments is we would like the 2 tasks, and then we want the rest of the stuff in secondary assignments. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I want to move task 1. I'm going to click the arrows on task 1, and I want it in primary assignments. So we're going to go ahead and click there. I'm going to go ahead and do the same to assignment 2, task 2, sorry. I want that underneath task 1 in primary assignments. We've gone ahead and do that. Now notice the weighting does change because it is now relative to this total over here. So you might want to change the weightings after you've decided on your categories, but I did it before just to explain things for the purpose of this demo. So next thing we are going to want to do is move the rest of the stuff into our secondary assignments category that we've created. So let's go ahead and do that. I've moved quiz 1. I'm going to go ahead and move quiz 2 underneath quiz 1 over there. I'm going to go ahead and take H5P activity 1, throw it in under quiz 2. And secondly, or lastly rather, I'm going to go ahead and pick the last activity and move it right at the end there. So what we have now is things a little bit more ordered, and will present nicely to the end user in the end too. So what we can see is we've got our category, our 2 tasks, and now we have a subtotal, which is the 2 max grades put together. And what we're going to want to do is we want these tasks to both count the same. So we're just going to go for the purpose of this example and change these to count 50 and 50 towards the end total. Let's just save those changes. Fantastic. And then we have the rest and our secondary total out of 30, and then our course total 230 over here. So What I want to do now is quickly just hit save changes once again. We're just going to go back to view and have a look at what it looks like over here for the grader and the end user. So we can see now it's changed a little bit. We've got our tasks over here. We've got our total over here. And we have our secondary assignments over here, our secondary assignment total, and then our course total at the end over here. Now you can change the way these are displayed for the grader and the end user. So right now, these are just using real numbers. In other words, this person got 79 out of 100 for task 1. 79%, which is all good there. But we might want to show it in a different way. Maybe this was out of 90 and we wanted to show the percentage. And we can do that by going once again to setup. We're going to focus on task 1. What we're going to do is go to edit over here and edit settings. Be taken to this page where we can't change the maximum grade. This is locked and is done in the actual assignment itself. But if I were to go to show more over here, this allows me to change the grade to pass. It also allows me to change the decimal places that I would like to be seen. But here in grade display type, this allows me to go and change certain things. So I might want to show the real and percentage, or in this case, I want to show percentage and real. We can also show letter and percentage. Let's go ahead and do that, and I'll explain what letters are. So gone and done letter and percentage. I've left everything else the same. Can choose hidden dates if I want to. You can hide assignments or marks, and then you can go and change your category settings too. So let's go ahead and hit save changes and see what this change does. Great, so let's go back to view, and assignment 1 over here, we can see that the view has changed. We now see a letter and we now see the percentage, which might be an easier way for you to present your markings. It all kind of depends on your marking style and what you would like to achieve with your course gradebook. The percentage might be a very nice thing for the course total. We might not want to see that this is 94 out of the 230. So let's go ahead and go back to setup. So what we're going to go to is edit over here, edit settings. Now this is for the course total. We're going to go to show more again. And we're going to go here, and what we want to just show is a percentage and save changes. Great, so let's go back to view. Just going to minimize this tray over here. And if I scroll to course total, now I can see that it is a percentage and not the total in the end. So this is the percentage, and you can also change the way this is calculated by going to setup. And if I go to edit over here, I can edit the calculation of the course total. So that is one way that you can change the way things are viewed within the setup, and also how you can categorize certain options. Next thing I want to take a look at is just letters, taking a step back and showing you what these mean. So if I were to click on the letters tab over here, you can see that there are default settings where a certain percentage aligns, or a certain threshold over here aligns with a specific letter. Now you are able to edit these grade letters to what you would like, so you can override the site details, and maybe you want to anyone that gets above or equal to and above 93%, maybe you want to say congratulations and not give an actual specific letter. So that is something that you can do and be creative with. And then obviously you can save the changes over there. And that will affect these letters and the way that it's shown. So that explains letters. Let's just jump back to setup now once again. So we've gone through the weights, the max grade, the actions, and this is a way you can select everything, and you can use this to mass edit things too. So all quite nice and simple so far. Then if I were to click on course grade settings, what this gives you is a bunch of settings on how you can determine how the gradebook looks for all the participants in the course. So there are a couple of options that you can go through. The first one here, I'm not going to go through each and every one, but your aggregation position, for example, what this will show you is it will either put it last, so the aggregation or your course full amounts or your course totals, excuse me, you can either display them last or you can display them first in your grade book. You also have a few calculations here. This setting specifically usually would be stuck to default, but what this means is if you've gone and changed your minimum and maximum grades in a live course, you might want to use the initial min and max grades as opposed to the ones that are specified and current in the grade settings. There are a couple of grade item settings. This is where you can go ahead and change the default. So before we were just changing each specific activity or specific course total. Over here, you can actually go and change each and every one if you want to. Your decimal places, you can change to. Your overview report, you might want to show the rank. In other words, if you got the third highest total in a quiz, you might want to display ranks to your users, but this is hidden by default. And there's also a hide totals if they contain hidden items, which is useful if you have hidden items within a course and you don't want the end user to become confused or work out what that hidden item mark was using, their course total and just figuring out the hidden total. So by default, it is hidden for you. And then in the user report, this is where you're able to change the display of the report given to the end user. So each of the end user can access their grades by going to their own gradebook, which I'll show you at the end. And this is how you can change what they see. So you might not want them to see specific grades, or you might want them to not see any of the letters. You might want to show the ranges of each activity or not. And this is how you are able to edit all of these settings for the user report. So I'm going to quickly show you the user report just to show you what I mean. It's contained in View, and it's the last tab over here, and the user report. So your user report, you can see it now looks as if, well, it looks like how we change things up in terms of the categories and the subtotals. But what I can go ahead and do is I can choose a specific user. Let's go ahead and choose student 1. And I can view this as myself or the user. And by editing those user report settings, we can go and take away some of these columns if we want to, and edit how the end user is able to see their report, which is very good and handy to do, and dependent on your use case can be quite customizable too. So let's go back to setup. I'll show you all the different views after we're done with the setup over here. We've gone through all the course grade settings. Now the next thing to do is take a look at the preferences grader report settings. Now, these reports or this area is how you can change preferences for the teachers to work in. In other words, these are settings for the administrator to change so that they can control what teachers can and cannot do within the gradebook, or what they can and cannot see within the gradebook. So it gives you a bunch of options where you can toggle on and off whether or not you would like the teacher to see these sort of things. So the calculation, for example, if you want the end user, or sorry, the teacher to be able to see all the calculations, you will leave it as default over there. For example, if I were to change this, for example, to no instead of yes, and I went to save changes. Over here, once I'm back to my view, the profile image will no longer change. And you can do this for almost every one of these little buttons. So this is how you can edit tasks within the system, within the gradebook. You might want to remove that for the teacher. It's all up to you. Let's go back to setup, back to preferences, grader report. So we do have a few other options over here. I just want to change this back to yes. And if we scroll down over here, another interesting setting that you might or may not want to change. Just for example, if I wanted to show quick feedback, it's default no. If I want to change this to yes, and I enable Ajax, yes. Now go save changes. What this allows me to do is edit or have my my teachers be able to edit results within the gradebook. So it's a very quick and easy way to be able to input assignments without, or assignment marks or quiz results without having to go into the actual task itself. So for this person, I want to give them 51% for this. I'm going to click enter. You can see it's green and it's also shown up as orange. So everything that is orange has been edited within the gradebook. And this person, I'm going to go ahead and give them 49%. And you can also go ahead and leave them feedback. You failed something. Whatever you want to decide over there. It's enter, and then the feedback will also show up in the grader or the user report for that user. So that is how we are able to edit results quickly. It's very fast. If I go, that's how you can have fast input into the gradebook, which is something you might not want your teachers to be able to do. And in that case, you're going to leave these as the defaults and save changes. So we can see over here our edited marks, 51 and 49. And if we go to the user report once again, and we take a look at student 1, we can go ahead and see the percentage that they have given, have received for task 2 over there. Let's go to student 2. They have their 49%, and here is the feedback that they received. So that is all the settings within the gradebook setup that we've covered now. Covering your setup, your course grade settings, and the preferences grader report. And remember, this is how you can change the view for the teachers in the gradebook, which is what we're going to go take a look at now. So let's click on view first. And the first tab that you're usually taken to in view is your grader report. So let's quickly give a navigation on what everything means here. Of course, you can edit whether these buttons are available for the teachers within the gradebook. But over here is a quick way to navigate to this student's user report. So if I were to click over here, it will take me to student 1's user report. click back, which we've already seen. This pencil over here, if I were to click on it, what this will take me to is single view, which we haven't taken a look at yet. But what single view does is, and it's highlighted task 2 in this specific example. So we clicked on that pencil button, but if I were to go to single view, what this allows me to do is select a user. We're in student 2's single view already, but just to demonstrate, over here I can see all of the assignments and all of their specific grades and all of their specific feedback. And this is another place where I can come edit. If that quick feedback and AX settings are not enabled, you can come and edit marks and override marks over here. And once again, once you override certain totals and whatnot, it will show up in orange. So for this quiz, he actually got 5. I'll go and save over there. Continue. We'll see now when I go to the grader view, it will show up as 5 for the student 2. So let's go and just show you that. Back to grader report. You can see it's come up as orange and student 2 has now received 5 over there. So you can also go, this pencil once again will take you to edit into the single view of the specific quiz. So if I went to this one, quiz 1, it will show me the single view, but instead of the user this time, it has shown me the activity. And this would be quiz 2, if I'm not mistaken. Or quiz 1, but over here, once again, you can go override. Interestingly enough, you can also perform bulk inserts and decide what you would like to change performing these bulk inserts over here. So that is your user and single views that we've taken a look at. Let's go back to grader report over here. All right, so of course you can search your participants if you have a large number of them. It gives you this option over here. If we were to click on grade history, what this allows me to do is search for specific users at a specific date interval, and I can go and search for specific grade items and even different graders if I want to. And then in my overview report over here, what I can go and have a look at is how a user is doing on a course-wide level. So for student 1, or sorry, a site-wide level, this student is enrolled into 5 courses, and I can go and have a look at how the student is doing in all of them. The last section to take a look at is the grades distribution. Now, what this is over here, it will give you a summary in chart form of your course. So we're in the same course. Over here, you can see the letter boundaries, which we can go and change, which we've already discovered. We can go and take a look at each assignment or activity as a whole, or the subcategories, or the sum of the courses, which is what we are looking at now. But if I were to go look at task 1, for example, and see things have changed where we've got our different tasks, and we can see in a chart form how everybody is. It also allows you to change the view of the chart. It allows you to change some grades, and you can also go ahead and download this chart and print this chart for yourself too, which is great. Awesome. So what we are looking at now is the Gradebook webinar course from the student's point of view. I believe this is student 2. He has completed all of his activities and has navigated to his gradebook. Now he can see the user report for student 2. Now remember, we can edit this to show what we want to show in terms of totals and whether or not we want to see percentages or feedback. But this is what the user report will look like, which you will be familiar with because you will be able to see the user report within the gradebook for each user. Great, so that has come to the end of my high-level overview of the Pluto LMS gradebook. I'd like to take this opportunity for any questions that you may have. All right, the first question has come through. Can you manually input items into the gradebook? Fantastic question. So yes, you can. You are able to do that. In order to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and log out and back into the teacher's view, which we have been using for this demonstration. So I'm just jumping into the teacher's view and back into Gradebook webinar course that I've created. And what we're going to go do is navigate to the gradebook over here. And once we are in the grade view, we're going to go to setup. And the question was, can we manually input activities for grading? So we'll go to add grade item over here. And what this allows you to do is add a new grade item. So I'm just going to call this example 1. It will ask us for the value or the grade type rather, what the maximum and minimum grade is. If this is hidden, we'll be able to go change our decimals, whether or not we want, or what type of view we would like the grade to display in. And we can also go ahead and change whether or not this is a primary or secondary assignment and save changes over here. And what that will do is let's go to view. And we should see our example 1 over here in our secondary assignments, which is great. So that is how you are able to add manual grade items. And then of course, if I wanted to grade it, I could go to single view. I could go to example 1. It will show me example 1 over here. And I could go grade these students and give them feedback if I wanted to. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. We'll save it. We'll continue. We'll hit up grade report. And over here, an example, you can see 51 and 49. They are not showing in green and red because we haven't set a pass mark. That's why they're on black. They are not orange because we didn't edit them. Technically, we have given them the mark for this assignment. Since there is no place to actually go and grade it, there's no actual activity, this counts as the activity, so it won't show up in orange and won't be edited, if that makes sense. Great. So the next question is if you can take us into the activity settings and show us where the grade settings are there. Yes, I can, and thank you for that question. So if I were to just jump out to course home. So what this question is asking is how do we go and set that initial maximum grade and determine settings from an activity point of view. So to do that, you would need to be in editing mode. So I'm going to go ahead and click edit course material. I'm going to go to edit. We're going to take a look at task 1, which is an assignment. I'm going to go to edit settings. Now you should remember that for our tasks, the maximum grade was 100 and the grade to pass was 50. So where we set that was in each activity type, they'll have a grade section. They'll look extremely similar to this. Now, has prompted me that there are existing grades already. So changing the maximum grade is going to mess up formatting. So you can decide whether or not you want to rescale the existing grades, yes or no. So if we were to change this to 90, do we want the existing grades to scale with that? And then over here, you can, now that we have created categories, if I were to go create more assignments, I can go place them straight into a category. Over here, it is grade pass, and this is where we can go select this. But if we were starting a new assignment that hadn't been created yet, you would be able to change the maximum grade and the grade to pass. Would it be beneficial to maybe just create an assignment from scratch so you can see the change there? Yes, it would be. Okay, great. So I will do that quickly. Let's just go and create activity or task 3. I'm going to go over there to add course content. It is an assignment. We're going to go ahead and add. It's always going to ask for a name and a description. We're not going to give it a description now. Additional files. All of these are familiar to us since we know how to set up assignments. If you don't, you're welcome to see some other webinars or email me or even go and see some of the setup guides. But over here, you can go and decide your maximum grade. We're going to keep it at 100. We can decide on our category. We can decide whether there is a grade to pass and what it is. And then it also, in this case, gives us a blind grading setting, which can be helpful if you want to go ahead and enable that too. But that is how you set up your grades when you are going and setting up the actual assignment or the activities themselves. Fantastic. We've come to the end of our Q&A session. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Please, if you do have any questions that you would like to ask on the course gradebook or anything Pluto in general, you're more than welcome to email support@plutolms.com or me directly at jc@plutolms.com. More than welcome to field your questions and give you my best suggestions and advice. Till next time, please keep safe and keep well, and we'll speak soon. Cheers, everybody.